With over $600 million worth of liquidations, is this pullback over, or are we still experiencing a little bit more pain before things actually start getting better? In this video, we're going to dive down into the charts. We're going to have a look at what is going on with the liquidations in the space and try to get an understanding as to what might happen next in the crypto space. As we get into the video, if you do find it useful and informative, then hit that like button. Really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with that said, done, and out of the way, let's jump on down to the desktop and take a look at what is going on with all of these leverage positions getting liquidated. Okay, guys, so everyone who kind of saw yesterday's video, we were talking about what was actually going on with a big ABC correction. We can kind of see that kind of playing out. We also pulled back down a little bit, so we're going to quickly just go into this. Basically, there was an A, a B, and a C up. Okay, and then here we can also see there was an A, a B, and a C down. We are now obviously looking for an ABC up. Okay, so again, should be looking to kind of move up after a small pullback, which I think will be due soon. So we'll have this little A, the little bit of a B, and then a push for a C. I do expect this to be a lower high here. And then potentially pulling back down. I still think there's going to be some more volatility, as I kind of indicated yesterday. I think this actually what could be forming down here might be a nice level of support at 58,600 if we can hold that. If not, then do expect us to pull down a little way lower. Okay, but these are basically, these kind of things are happening because of leverage positions, and I'll get into that in a moment. But if we continue with this with a good support, we could actually have an Elliott triangle pair here with a good level of support, which will lead to an absolutely massive pull up. Okay, so eventually we'll have this big break to the upside. Okay, so if I actually go ahead and grab hold of this A to E, for example, we would have this being our A, this being our B. We'll look for a C, we'll look for a D. Again, this will be down here. I'll just put it out of the way for a moment. And then a potential E. Okay, so we'll be looking for something similar to this, and it might actually be the other way around. So actually it would be coming down here, so A, B, C. Let me find it where. So be basically around here, 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 and then down here. Okay, this could then lead to a breakout. So we'll see if that actually works, that plays out or not. The key thing is to hold that 58,600. If we lose that, then I don't think it'll be a triangle that will be forming here. Okay, so we'll have to see how that plays out in due course for Bitcoin. But ultimately, let's get into what's going on with liquidations. Do expect there to be a bit of a push today to the upside, and then a pullback again in Bitcoin. But let's take a look at what's going on with liquidations. So here we have CoinGlass. And we can see in the last 24 hours, it's $609 million in liquidations. And basically, this is people over leveraging themselves or using leverage as a whole, right? So if you have platforms like Robinhood, for example, where they might give you 100x leverage, basically you put $1,000 in and you can gamble with $100,000. And I use the word gamble because that's exactly what leverage is. It's not an educated, decision-making process. It's high risk, and basically the people who hold vast amounts of cryptocurrencies, whales is what they're often referred to as, can see these leverage positions because it's all open and you can see exactly what is going on. And if there's a load of people going long, then you can bet that they're going to go ahead and dump on the market to leverage, or bring those leverage positions down, right? Basically short that market down, and basically all the people who went long get liquidated. They lose their initial $1,000 very, very quickly, and all the money flows over to the institutions or into those whales, right? So it's important that we, at least on this channel, we would never, talk about using leverage. We never use leverage ourselves. We buy the asset. We own the asset, not your keys, not your crypto, all those kind of things. There's a sayings for a reason, right? And you don't get burnt that way. If you don't have 100 grand to drop into crypto, that's perfectly fine. You don't have 100 grand to drop into crypto. You have $1,000. $1,000 is still going to get you significant gains. But the idea of trying to multiply your profits by 100x is absolutely ridiculous. And as a result, you're going to get significantly burnt. You're going to get wrecked fast, And well, here you can see $608 million in the last 24 hours. This is actually a little bit higher. We had this article coming in at $882 million worth of liquidations yesterday, right? And this analyst, that's what we want to call the guy, is basically calling out that the pain might not be over. And I do agree. I don't think the pain is over yet because of leverage positions. If you're not squeezing, you saw the same thing actually happen. I think it was last year with Wall Street Bets, right? They were squeezing out leverage positions on some institutions that were trying to short, GameStop, right? And obviously they just went the other way. Just buy it up and hold it. If you buy and hold an asset, you have the power, you have the keys, and you can control it. But if you're leveraging, you have no control over what the market does, and you get liquidated, right? So $608 million in liquidations is just absolutely insane amount of money that's basically flowed out of retail investors, because that's what it's going to be, ultimately retail investors. There might be a couple of institutions in there or a few companies that really don't know what they're doing, but for the most part it's going to be retail investors who are using leverage, places like Robinhood, etc., getting absolutely wrecked. Okay, so on this channel we'll never talk about that. We'll basically buy assets with money that we actually have, and we'll own the assets. We'll get them into cold storage if we can. And basically, we're not going to get liquidated when the market becomes volatile. Okay, so as the market pulls back, like we saw yesterday, our portfolio took a hit. We saw a few, thousand, dollars kind of wiped out the portfolio, which is, fine. You can deal with that on the short term. That's not a problem. But we didn't lose our cryptocurrency because of liquidation, because we weren't using leverage. We bought the currency, we bought the asset, and we hold the asset. Okay, so if any of you guys out there are using leverage, seriously consider and reconsider that. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, nor is Chris. We're not offering financial advice, but it's high risk, and I do consider it just gambling at this point, because you'll never know. Once those leverage positions reaches a certain threshold, then you can see that, or at least the institutions and the whales can see it, and they'll go the opposite way and basically just completely wipe you out. And here you can actually see the amount of liquidations, the longs that are still outstanding, and the shorts that are still outstanding. There's $25 million dollars worth of long positions and $13 million worth of short positions. So obviously, I think that we are likely to go down lower, liquidating more of these short positions, but it is only 25 million left now, obviously out of the nearly $1 billion. So yeah, it's easy to see that things are going to be interesting to kind of see how things kind of play out. Now obviously these positions, they're going to just keep growing now, right? Because now we're kind of getting to a lower area. I do expect a few more of the liquidations on the long positions as we drop down a little bit lower. These will actually might increase a little bit, and once these shorts increase a little bit, then the market will move back up, and of course it'll be liquidating the short positions as the price moves up. Then this long position will start to increase again. It's a cycle that will continue, but we can of course see liquidations as a whole was 600 million. You can see that Ethereum took the brunt of the hit so far with $184 million. Bitcoin at 171 million. Litecoin 23, Solana 17, and so forth, right? So you can see it's really heavy in those two safer cryptocurrencies, right? Because obviously that's the other terminology that gets battered around quite a lot, that Ethereum and Bitcoin are safer. But again, nothing is safe if you are using leverage. So avoid that. Not advice, but that's something I would never do. I would never use leverage. So knowing that the fact that we had significant positions kind of wiped out, and this also played into the hands of a big ABC move that was going on here, the fact that we still think that there's $25 million worth of long positions that still could get shorted, we are still expecting to see volatility around here. Whether or not it actually pulls back below 58,600 is going to be the question that we have to hold up and see whether or not it's something that we should be expecting. I'm hoping that actually that area holds out. Okay, if we can hold out on 58,600 and complete that triangle, so what I'm going to do is quickly remove these ABCs so we can get a bit of view of that. Okay, so if I grab hold of my trend line here, we can see that there's a descending trend line here with this support level at the bottom. Okay, if we can find that here. Okay, if this actually continues the way that it is doing, then we could actually complete that that move, right? So basically, if I get this right, it would be an A, B, C, D, and then an E. And then from there is where you look for that break. Okay, so I do think volatility is something that we should be expecting to see, but hopefully that will actually play out. If we get that triangle playing out, then that'll be very, very good for Bitcoin and for the entire crypto space. As ultimately, if we take a look at our daily, we're heavily oversold. Our weekly, we're overbought, but again, we're just looking for a correction on the weekly chart. I think this is actually something that is going to pull back quite nicely over the next couple of weeks without actually doing any damage to the daily chart. Our 8 hourly is oversold. Our 4 hourly is oversold, but our hourly is held up there in the overbought area. Okay, so we have to understand that we are expecting to see this ABC kind of move. Each one of these waves is an ABC move. So watch that kind of complete out, and then have that break is what we're looking for here with Bitcoin. And when we actually take a look at the advice.io dashboard and we take a look and see, okay, what's actually going on when it comes to the underlying data, we can see that we have actually pulled down a rating from B1 to B2, and the fear and greed index is actually still neutral, right? It's pretty neutral. It's basically liquidating positions. Doesn't really necessarily affect the market in terms of sentiment, but do expect retail investors to start getting shaken out soon in terms of what is going on with that fear and greed index. The Sharpe ratio is the concern right now. It has taken a significant dive below the 50-day average. This could take a little while to correct, so do have to be aware that the risk reward ratio is not in our favor right now. Okay, so do expect this to again kind of support that theory of we haven't finished with liquidating positions, and we could actually start to see a little bit more of a pullback. The risks do outweigh the rewards right now for Bitcoin, right? So we have to be aware of that. Now, not all altcoins are following the exact same pattern. Just take a look at Avalanche. It is actually performing in the green today. And again, so it's important that we acknowledge that the technical areas of each different altcoin have got an impact on the overall market, right? And Bitcoin obviously is pulling down the majority of the market, but most of these coins as well were in leveraged positions. So again, they were all getting liquidated at the same time as the market started to correct and pull back down, compounding the problem. But obviously, for Avalanche, it seemed to be doing actually quite well and pushing back up. So if I actually jump up over to here, we can see that it's actually up 7.2% today, 5.4% for the week. And again, it is actually performing well. There's only a couple of assets like this on the charts here, so it's worth kind of just pointing out those. But ultimately, yeah, I would be concerned. Make sure that we're aware that there is some volatility to be expected, and that we should be looking at potentially coming back down. If I just bring the chart back up into our level of 58,600, hopefully hold that as support. If not, there is a support line at 57,800, so do watch out for that one. And again, there's a whole host of additional support levels to be found down here as well. So, you know, 53K, for example, there's also 55.5K. So depending on the level of liquidations, you know, there's a lot of support to be had here. I don't think we're crashing all the way down to some crazy low numbers. Not yet. We haven't yet actually peaked out with Bitcoin. I do expect that still to occur. But this is, again, a natural thing that happens in the space when people who are using leverage do not necessarily know what they're getting themselves into. And basically, a lot of money is up to grabs for the whales and the institutions. When they see it, they take it. So as always, I will leave this video there. If you have found it useful and informative, then do hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.